Hello, everyone. Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. It is Wednesday. We are halfway through the first international week of the break. The games begin tomorrow night, so not much longer until we have some football to talk about. England in action tomorrow, and we have the Leandro Trossard versus Riccardo Calafiori derby. I think it's Belgium versus Italy, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So plenty to talk about, hopefully, over the next few days as the international fixtures roll around, but we've got plenty to talk about today. We're going to talk about Martin Odegaard as he steps up his recovery. Arsenal releasing a video yesterday of him on the anti-gravity treadmill, which is really good and very good sign of progress. I would think in terms of Martin Odegaard's injury as he battles back to full fitness. We've got plenty of questions and comments from you guys as well to discuss. Just wanted to say thank you, first of all, for all the lovely messages from yesterday in terms of me receiving my silver play button from YouTube for passing 100,000 subscribers a few weeks ago now, a couple of months ago, I think it was now. So yeah, thank you very much for all the kind messages on here, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. Really do appreciate them as well. And myself and James Ben just sitting down later on today for Inside Arsenal Extra Time. So you want to get involved in that show, you know what to do. Get down into the comments below, start with Extra Time, give us your comment, your question, your opinion on anything going on at Arsenal tomorrow. We'll pull some of them together and get them included in the second half of tomorrow's show. Right, Martin Odegaard. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see a picture here that I've taken from the video that Arsenal released yesterday. If you haven't seen the video yet, go over to Arsenal's channels. You can find it on there with Martin Odegaard stepping up his recovery. The joy on Martin Odegaard. I don't think anyone's looked so happy to be on a treadmill as Martin Odegaard in that video yesterday. Now, it's the anti-gravity treadmill, which is slightly different to your usual treadmill. It's sort of takes some of the weight off you basically and takes the weight off the joints and things like that. So it just makes it easier for people suffering with ankle injuries or joint problems to be able to run and to be able to work on their fitness. But the fact that Martin Odegaard is now at the stage where he's able to do this definitely has to be taken as a very positive sign. There is still no date yet. There's no comeback date set for Martin Odegaard. Arsenal are still they're not taking any risks. They're still going day by day. I know that all sounds cliche, but it is absolutely true, because they don't want to do anything that he's not ready for and that can set him back at all. So it's all carefully mapped out depending on how it is. But as I said, he's working so hard to get himself fit. He's got 2 weeks now, of course, until the international break is over. And you'd have to think, when we get back from this international break, we'll see how far away he is. Obviously, it's going to be a lot more clearer in terms of the medical department when he'll be back, once he starts actually properly training. So gets off the anti-gravity treadmill, gets on a proper treadmill, gets out on the pitch, starts doing some work by himself, starts doing some twists and turns on the ankle. They'll have a much clearer picture then of when maybe they'll be able to integrate him back into training. It's still some way off, I'd say. I can't imagine any way he's going to be back available for Bournemouth, but you think there's some big games coming up very, very soon. You've got the Inter Milan game, of course, which is November the 6th. You've got Liverpool coming up. You've got Chelsea coming up. Those have got to be the games you'd probably have in your mind. Maybe the Inter game will come a little bit too soon, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. In terms of what Martin said, if you hadn't seen it, I did speak about it the other day, but he did give an update on his injury, which again was very, very positive, I thought. He gave it in the programme notes for the game at the weekend. He said, I just wanted to start with the latest on my injury and rehab. In the last week or so, I've made really good progress. I'm getting better and better by the day. I feel it's going really well. When you feel like things are moving forward, it gives you motivation to do more and more and work even harder. Today, sorry, talking about Southampton game there. He says, hopefully it won't be much longer. I think we will know more as soon as I get back out on the training pitch, and we'll see how my ankle responds to it. At the moment, it's progressing well, and it looks better than we are thinking, but we've still got to take every day as it comes. Now, that was obviously a very positive line at the end. It looks better than we were thinking. We've now seen him on the anti-gravity treadmill. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw some images of Martin Odegaard on the pitch at some point relatively soon. Not in full training, not, riding tackles and all that sort of stuff, but just out by himself on the pitch, maybe doing a little bit of running. I wouldn't be overly shocked if we see that at some point. But I would still suggest, even if we do see that, he'd still be some way off coming back. But this is definitely a positive sign, and all I do know as well is that Martin Odegaard will be doing absolutely everything. And I know I've said it a few times, but he will be doing absolutely everything to get himself back fit as quickly as he possibly can. I think it's been about 30 days now, isn't it, since the injury? So it's been pretty much a month since he went down with the injury. And it's certainly got to be a good sign that we're now seeing him running, albeit with the use of the anti-gravity treadmill at the moment. Right, moving on. Arsenal players given a bit of time off at the moment. Mikel's actually got a decent squad. I'm going to talk about that maybe in tomorrow's show in terms of the boost that maybe this international break will give to Arsenal over some of their title rivals, because they do have a lot of players at London Colney, or they will have once they're back. Obviously, you've got players who are rehabbing, like Martin Odegaard, Ben White, players like that. But you've also got a lot of players who at the moment are on a break because they've given some time off. It's been a really intense start to the season, obviously. So they're all enjoying a few days off, and they'll be coming back towards the end of the week and then really kicking on again for next week's training ahead of the Bournemouth game. But those players who are in the squad, your Raheem Sterlings, your Gabriel Jesus's, your Jorginhos, those sort of players, Zinchenko, and those ones who are rehabbing as well. The fact that you're going to be able to use them in terms of working with them, and they're not away with their international teams, you've got to think that's going to be a big boost for Arsenal. But right now, they have been given some time off. Not sure if Arteta's at the training ground or not. I wouldn't be surprised if Arteta's at least had a few days away with the family as well at the start of this international break. So much needed rest and recovery for the players, and then they're going to come back towards the end of the week and then get going again, obviously, and heading towards the game against Bournemouth. So some break for the Arsenal players at the moment. Arsenal women got a huge match tonight, of course. Jonas Eideveld talking about it last night over in Munich. Some great coverage coming from Munich as well from some of the press pack who cover the Arsenal women's team, Tim Stillman and everyone. So get over to follow them on social media if you don't already, if you want to be updated with all events in Munich ahead of this big game, Arsenal's first group stage game in the Champions League. Jonas Eideveld's talking about it on Munich. He says, I think they're well organised. They're really strong when they face forward. If that's counter-attacks or if they're playing through opposition pressure, it's full throttle once they face forward and are in front of your defending line. And they have players that are really good at driving at you with speed and coming at you with pace, with quick attacks. That's probably what really stands out on whether Arsenal are ready for this. The Champions League opener, he says it's exciting. We start against a really tough opponent, a top European team. We go away. I feel it's really exciting to be playing these games. This is what we want to be in the Champions League for. We want to play against the best and we want to be the best. So we're looking forward to it. Arsenal obviously had a really disappointing result at the weekend at the Emirates, drawing 0-0 against Everton. On being able to put that result behind them, Jonas said, yeah, I agree with you. It was frustrating. I think we as a team, we like to go forward. We want to show another version of ourselves, and it's an excellent opportunity to do that tomorrow night. Yeah, obviously Arsenal not great against Everton in that game at the weekend, all a little bit slow, struggled to break Everton down. They're going to have to be a lot better than that tonight if they want to get their group stage campaign underway with a successful result. Leah Williamson was training yesterday. I saw Russo, Mead all training. Whether everyone gets selected in the team, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, big night for the Arsenal women tonight. Good luck if you're heading over to watch the game. And I know plenty of Arsenal fans are making the journey over to Germany for that game. Hope you enjoy it. Be loud. I'm sure you will. Hopefully get a really decent result. Got to say, Eunice definitely a bit under a little bit of pressure, I would say, this season. Needs some big performances, some big results to show that Arsenal women are going in the right direction under his leadership, because you've got to say plenty of people out there think they're not. So he's got a bit of pressure on him going into this season, both in terms of the league, but Champions League as well. And he's some good showings. Right, moving on to some questions and comments from you guys. Ollie and Mr. Allen here, both getting in touch on Mikel Merino, who yesterday I said probably would have been better had Spain not called him up, given he's barely played for Arsenal. And both disagree. So I thought I'd have a little chat about this. Ollie, first of all, says, well-deserved YouTube milestone. Been watching you from day one, watching these videos are part of my daily routine. We met, I think, after the Bournemouth game last season. I was in the leather jacket. Sorry, Ollie. I don't have a memory that good. I'm not, fortunately, but thank you very much for that. Do appreciate it. I certainly appreciate you being here since day one as well. Thank you very much. Come up and say hello at another game. Yeah, hopefully rejog. Is that right? Rejog my memory. Yeah, I'll come and say hello. You say you disagree with me on Merino to Spain view. He needs minutes, I think, rather than rest, as it will only benefit Arsenal. Only going to return sharper. Mr. Allen says, I am happy Mikel Merino was called up. Merino. I keep saying Moreno, don't I? It's really annoying me. And I know it's annoying you because you keep calling me up about it in the comments as well. I don't know what it is. It's like some weird tick in my brain. It keeps making me say Moreno instead of Merino. So start that again. Mr. Allen says, I'm happy Mikel Merino was called up to Spain because he needs the minutes. His injury was a fractured shoulder, not a muscle or a knee ligament problem. To my eyes, he needs match play. And that's a really good point, to be fair, both of you. I thought about it when I read these comments. I thought, yeah, I mean, that's probably right. He does need a bit of match sharpness. I think that's been pretty evident from the couple of games we've seen from him so far at Arsenal. I thought he was better in the Southampton game than he was against Leicester. He looked sharper. But yeah, maybe some time away playing for Spain will improve that sharpness. I can't imagine like the rest of the players are all off at the moment. He really doesn't need any time off because he's had plenty of it over the last month or so while he's been recovering from that shoulder injury. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it is what he needs. And he will come back sharper, and that will benefit Arsenal from a fitness point of view. So thank you very much, both of you, for pointing that out. Jeff here says, Martinelli is an Arsenal record breaker, where I believe he's been on the winning side more times than any other player when he has scored a goal. You are indeed correct, Jeff. And here are the stats above to prove that very statement. Gabriel Martinelli, 37 games that he scored in for Arsenal without losing. Miles clear. It's 11 clear of Lee Dixon. There, out of those 37 games that he scored in, Arsenal have won 32 and they have drawn 5. Then you've got Lee Dixon on 26, Perry Groves on 26, Parler on 26 as well. Nico and Nelka 24, Granit, Leo and Kai Havertz down there complete the top 8. So yeah, look at that from Gabriel Martinelli. 37 games without losing. He is Arsenal's lucky charm, isn't he? So hopefully comes back, scores against Bournemouth, and hopefully he scores in every single game between now and the end of the season. Because if he does that, then Arsenal are certainly set for a very good season. If you judge him by this record, so yeah, you're right, Jeff, to point that out. Gabriel Martinelli very much an Arsenal record breaker at the moment. Jordan here has got in touch and says, I've been thinking since our last home game against Leicester and Southampton that we may be missing someone. Now, hear me out on this, but I think without Odegaard in the team, our best choice left back would be Zinchenko. I know he's injured at the moment, but soon to be back. I love Timber and Calafiori and believe they're the future of our backline. However, some of our games recently against lower opponents have felt too out of control at times. And a player like Zinchenko helps you strangle the opposition and rarely gives the ball away. Love your thoughts, not on Zinchenko being our best left back, but on him being a valuable squad member and how he can help us rotate, keep up the great content. I 100% agree that he is a valuable squad member. I don't really look at this Arsenal team right now and think what they're missing is Zinchenko, though, I have to admit. But he is 100% a valuable squad member when he's fit and he's going to play. And I'm sure he's going to have a big part to play in this season, and he will be used. I would suggest we might see him use more of a midfielder now, potentially, but we'll have to wait and see on that because I've thought that forever, basically, since he signed, and we've not seen it yet from Arteta. But I just think his options at left back are going to be so congested. I'm not sure Zinchenko gets in it. I think, though, maybe when you're looking at our recent games, there is a very big stark contrast between Arsenal's control of games at home and away. The home games are always a little bit more chaotic, whatever that is. Maybe because Arsenal just like to attack more, so that leaves them slightly more open. When you look at what they do away from home, it's not really chaos, and it hasn't been all year. I think before the Man City game, when obviously Arsenal conceded 2 in that game, they'd only conceded 3 goals away from home in the Premier League since the start of 2024, and they hadn't been behind once. So there wasn't really any feel of chaos away from home for Arsenal or jeopardy or anything like that. But it is very different at home, and it always has been the record really at home, certainly since the improvement has been made under Arteta. And I think that is just probably because Arsenal's set their stall out a little bit differently at home. They all press forward a lot more. They're always looking to score, and that just leaves them a little bit more open. So there always just tends to be a little bit of a sense of more chaos in those games than there have been away from home. And I'm not sure just the addition of Zinchenko as left back would change that, to be honest. I still think it's going to be very, very open with him there as well. So no, I agree with you. I think he's definitely a valuable squad member, and I 100% help rotate. But I've not really looked at this Arsenal team in the last couple of games and thought what's missing is Zinchenko at left back, I have to say. But thank you very much, Jordan. Appreciate your comment. Guna72 says, great to hear that Nuno Tavares is doing well. Hopefully they'll give us a tenner and a bag of pasta for him. Get a little bit more than that. Unfortunately, it's like when you look at Arsenal's loans players this season, the one who's obviously starring at the moment and doing great things is Nuno Tavares, Bukayo Saka is the only player in Europe's top 5 leagues, who has more assists than Nuno Tavares this season, which is mad. He's got 5 for Lazio already this season. But he's the one player that Arsenal have where the team he's on loan to has an obligation to buy, providing a couple of bits of sporting criteria met, which they will be. and that's only going to be around £7 million. So whatever Nuno does, if he continues this amazing run of form, gets 20 assists in the season, and is like one of the star players in Serie A, he's still only going to cost Lazio £7 million because that is the agreement that was reached with him at the time, which looked like a perfectly fine deal at the time, of course, for Arsenal. But then you look at the other loan players like Sambi Lokonga, who has been injured pretty much all season, Fabio Vieira, players like that. There is no obligation to buy. So in those ones, so they could, if they end up having really poor seasons or are injured all the time, then Arsenal aren't going to be able to sell them because people aren't going to take up the options on those because there is no obligation. So it's pretty much sod's law that the one player where there is an obligation and it's a relatively low one is the one who's ripping it up at the moment and absolutely starring. It will be about 7 million, but Arsenal do have a significant sell-on clause for Tavares. When that deal gets completed, they have a significant sell-on clause on him. I think it's pretty high. I'm not sure the exact number, but it's a very hefty sell-on clause. So should he do well, and they only have to sell him for 7 million, but then he does well, and Lazio sell him for a lot after that, then they get a good chunk of money from that sell-on clause. Just finally here from Aaron, it says, "Hey Charles, Andre Harriman, now of under-18s, is making great impact recently, scoring his debut for both the EFL Trophy and the UEFA Youth Champions League as well. Not to get overhyped, but he could be a good replacement for Cheeto. Similar profile to Martinelli, can play on both flanks and a striker. Yeah, he's had a very good start, scored yesterday against MK Dons. 2-2 draw in the EFL Trophy. MK Dons winning the shootout, I think 4-1 or 3-1. I think only Kukuri scored his penalty. But Harriman now scored in that game, scored the first goal of Arsenal's 2, also scored against PSG. 16-year-old kid, looks very, very exciting. Like you said, can play as a striker, can play centrally, can play on the left, can play on the right. And I'm sure he's going to have a really decent season for the under-21s, which will be a boost. He's still very, very young, of course, can play for the under-18s. He's still only 16. But with Cheeto leaving, you kind of looked at the striking options that Arsenal had and wonder who's going to play up front and are they going to be able to score enough goals? And hopefully Harriman and Al can be that guy and can have a very good season. So we'll wait and see. Obviously, look, he's 16. I know basically nothing about him, very, very little. He's only just broken onto the scene. He's a first-year scholar. So we'll just have to let him do what he does, put no pressure on the kid, no hype on the kid, and just let him see how he does. Hopefully he has a good season with the under-18s, the under-21s, and everyone knows a little bit more about him come this time next year, which would show that he's had a very, very good season. So thank you, Aaron, for pointing that out. And that's it from me today, everyone. That's it from me this morning, everyone. Anyway, I should say, because of course, as I said at the start of this, myself and James Benj will be doing Inside Arsenal Extra Time a little bit later on today. So there'll be 2 shows today. That one will be going out about 5 o'clock. I think we're going to record maybe about 3 p.m., something like that, 3:30 p.m. UK time. So you want to get involved in that. Start your question, your opinion, your comment down below on anything you want us to discuss Arsenal-wise with Extra Time. Then leave your comment, your question, your opinion. We'll pull them together and get them included, or some of them included in the show. Until then, have a great day, everyone. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.